Well, hello, folks. This is Jeffrey Darty, the Christian whistleblower. As you can probably tell, I'm on the road, but we did want to bring you the second installment of the breaking news about Mandela effect and the Antichrist. And if you really want to get the full story, you need to go back to the first series, which was the prophet Daniel, Mandela, and the Antichrist, and also part one of this series, breaking news on the Mandela effect and Antichrist. Without any time to spare, last time we looked and we saw about the lion and the lamb. The lion's there, the lamb's there. I was thinking, oh, maybe people just mentally transpose that. But then something jumped into my consciousness, and I began to look at the new verse, which says, the wolf shall dwell with the lamb. And as we saw in the last broadcast, the wolf is very significant, and also significant is the fact that the wolf is dwelling, because dwelling actually means, as we saw last week in the original Hebrew language, is dwell means that the wolf is a newcomer without any original rights. That is the direct teaching of the literal Hebrew language in this verse. The wolf is a newcomer without any original rights. So that confirms what Daniel told us and what we're being told here in the lion and the lamb verse in Isaiah, that this is indeed something new. This Mandela effect has, contrary to my prior statements, has changed some Bible verses. I just had not found this yet, so that's why I said that it had not. But not only does the wolf, not only is he usurping as a newcomer, not only is he showing up without any original rights, he is also, as the Hebrew says, anchoring in somebody else's house. This is exactly what Daniel told us. Antichrist wants to try to usurp the place and the person and the house, if you will, of the Christ. So that is exactly what we're seeing. And this wolf, this newcomer without original rights, this wolf, this one that is anchoring in another house, this wolf is stirring up in the original Hebrew strife and discord. It goes hand in hand with Daniel saying that Antichrist would think to change time. He would think to change notable events. He would think to create diverse timelines, and he would think to create specific or recreate and change specific characteristics in timelines of our life. And as we begin to look deeper, we looked at that wolf. Wolf is a very well-known theme within the Christian scriptures, quote unquote, but it's not a very common theme. In fact, there's almost no mention of the wolf or wolves in the scripture. And that is by design, because it is meant to draw your attention to this specific lone wolf, if you will, a situation we've got here. And we looked at the wolf, and the wolf dwelling with the lamb, the wolf interacting with the lamb, the wolf interchanging with the lamb. If we get deeper into those Hebrew words, as we saw on the last broadcast, it brings to mind Matthew 7 and 15. Beware false prophets, for inside they are what? They are ravening wolves. Outwardly, they look like sheep, but inside they are ravenous wolves. And not just wolves, but ravenous wolves. Wolves not being very common in the scripture, and ravenous wolves being even more specific, which dropped us to Genesis 49:27, which said, Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin, is characterized as a ravenous wolf. So obviously we can tie Matthew 7:15, ravenous wolf, to Genesis 49:27, ravenous wolf, and it ties us back to the wolf in Isaiah. That's called comparing scripture with scripture, especially something that is not talked about, like wolf and like wolves. Are you beginning to understand the correct way to interpret and understand the scripture. Scripture interprets scripture. Priest does not interpret scripture. Pastor does not interpret scripture. Guru does not interpret scripture. Scripture interprets scripture. And then we look, where else do we find a wolf? Well, we find a wolf in Philippians 3 and 5. This particular person in the New Testament says, hey, I am from the tribe of Benjamin. Wait a second. Benjamin is the ravenous wolf. The ravenous wolf is the same wolf as in Matthew 7:15, who's a false prophet, who is the same wolf that's in Matthew, in Isaiah chapter 11, I believe it is, that has replaced the lion. The lion, hello, representative of Yeshua. And now this wolf has usurped because he's a newcomer, because he has no original authority, because he is squatting, if you will, in somebody else's house, and because he's stirring up strife and discord. And then we look and we see, who was that wolf? Well, Paul said that he was the Benjamin. The only person, folks, listen to me, the only person in the entire New Testament that said he's from the tribe of Benjamin. The only person in the New Testament ever described as being from the tribe of Benjamin, which is the ravenous wolf, which ties back to the ravenous wolf in Genesis, back to the ravenous wolf, the usurper, the squatter, the stir up of the Isaiah passage. But it gets much, much deeper than this, because in Genesis 49:27, we read that Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning, and if you look into the Hebrew there, it also will say at the beginning, at the start, at the dawn, at the morning. So it means morning, and it also means metaphorically the beginning. So at the beginning, this wolf, this ravenous wolf, will consume a human. And the language has the connotation of consuming a particular, specific human. And that's exactly what Paul, the Benjamite ravenous wolf, did. At his beginning, he consumed a specific human, the specific human. He consumed Yeshua. He ate Yeshua up. He held down Yeshua. He, Nero, and the rest of the Roman machinery replaced Yeshua. And this gets back to the series that we preempted, Jesus is the Antichrist. This all begins to tie in and come together. But he consumed, he devoured, he destroyed, he did away with. And that's all of the Hebrew words. At the beginning, the ravenous wolf will consume, devour, destroy, do away with a specific human. It's a clear leading of scripture that says, hey, look, there's a ravenous wolf that's trying to replace the lion, which is, of course, Yeshua. And he's a wolf, Benjamin, ravenous wolf, at the beginning, or at the dawn of his rise. He consumes a human. And then Paul also said in Philippians 3:5, not only was he a Benjamite, but he was also a Pharisee. And not just a Pharisee, but a Pharisee of Pharisees. What did the Pharisees want to do? Matthew 12:14, the Pharisees plotted to kill Jesus. We could say to devour Jesus, to consume Jesus, to destroy Jesus, to do away with Jesus. Same as Genesis 49:27. Mark 3:6, the Pharisees with the Herodians plotted to kill Jesus. Kill is the same word as used in Matthew 12:14 and Genesis 49:27. And Herodians, folks, Herodians, there's actually two Herodians talked about in the New Testament. One was the King Herod, who was sitting on the throne of his father, who was, of course, in the line of the Herodians. And yes, who was the other Herodian that was talked about in the New Testament? Paul! Ding, 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 ding. Do you see it all coming together? What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do, sister, when the truth of the New Testament breaks out all over you. I'm Jeffrey Darty, the Christian whistleblower, on the road, but we'll be back tomorrow night, I think, to finish up this update on the Mandela effect and Antichrist. Before you go, subscribe to my channel. Before you go, like this video. Before you go, share it with somebody else. Jeffrey Darty, your Christian whistleblower, wishing you peace, wishing you light, and above all else, my friends, unindoctrinate yourself.